Like all of you, I'm here to make sure that our voices are heard in every room in the hallway at this Capitol. I am blessed to be joined by so many incredible fellow crime survivors today, including CSSJ members Yolanda Jennings and Pearl Wise. I would also like to thank Representative Natalie Mihalik for being with us here today. Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice is a national network of nearly 190,000 crime victims across the country, with close to 8,000 here in Pennsylvania. Our network of survivors have band together, and we have shown what is possible when we stand up and speak out. Last year, we successfully advocated for the passage of House Bill 2464, which increased access to victims' compensation for so many survivors and expanded the help they receive so that they have the tools to heal. We also successfully pushed for House Bill 2032. Now, sexual assault survivors in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania can have their identities protected during investigation. It is time we build upon that progress to meet the needs of survivors and improve safety in every community. Survivors should never have to fear losing their homes or jobs after they've just become victimized or lost a loved one. We're calling for the legislator to pass protections that establish the right for victims to terminate a lease, change locks, and be protected from rent increase due to their victimization. We're also calling for survivors to be able to take time off work after violence and be able to access unemployment benefits if they lose their job. And we know there's much more work we can do to improve victims' compensation. We are calling on our elected leaders to increase the caps on some expenses, expand alternative reporting when filing for help, and end debt collection after an application is filed. You've all made it clear that as survivors, what you want most is for what happened to you to never happen to anybody else. Pennsylvania needs to join other states in having incentives for people in prison to complete rehabilitation programs like educational and job training. These earned credits have been proven to help people succeed after they've served their time, holding them accountable while making it less likely they'll return to prison. Additionally, survivors are calling to reduce barriers to occupational licensing to allow people with past convictions to work and support their families. We are here because we want to be safe. We are here because our communities need hope. We are here because when survivors speak, change happens. And now I would like to introduce my fellow CSSJ member and friend, Yolanda Jennings.
Good morning. I'm Yolanda Jennings, and I am the CSSJ Philadelphia Chapter Coordinator, and I'm a survivor. Many of us standing here today share the same unfortunate experience. Not only are we survivors, but we've experienced the additional trauma of not getting help when we needed it most. We found ourselves in cycles of trauma, and this cycle is the foundation of much of the violence and instability we've seen firsthand. It is simply wrong for survivors to be faced with the possibility and risk of losing their jobs or homes when they are recovering or grieving or even trying to find safety. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania should expand housing and employment protections so survivors aren't left risking their economic instability. These policies ensure that survivors can take time off after being victimized and also access unemployment insurance benefits if they lose their job after violence. Additionally, survivors should be able to get out of a lease to relocate without having to pay financial penalties or be refused housing or be evicted because of their victimization. Being a survivor can be traumatic enough, and not knowing whether you'll be able to keep your job or home during that time can make things worse. And while our advocacy made it possible to reduce barriers to victim compensation, Pennsylvania's low expense caps still lag behind other states. We should increase those caps so victims receive the critical help they need to heal. These are common sense policies for safety, and most importantly, they are the right thing to do. These policies can bring hope to our communities looking for change and can make Pennsylvania safer for all of us. We will make it happen because when survivors speak, change happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Yolanda. I would now like to welcome one of our champions who's been with us every step of the way, Representative Natalie Mihalik, along with Representative Borowski.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so thankful we got a beautiful day today for this. I'm Representative Natalie Mihalik, and I'm honored to join you all here for the second year in a row at the state capitol. And I'm here with my colleague today, Representative Borkowski. A lot of times, I think you probably feel the same. What we do in there feels so disconnected from what's happening out here. To see you all here today is just a beautiful thing, and I hope you get in there and get into the halls of the Capitol and meet as many legislators as you can, because we need you. We need your voice, and you've already been doing that. Our criminal justice system often prioritizes the defendant, leaving the victim as an afterthought in a defendant first, victim last mindset. And that needs to change. I've heard countless stories over the years. Many of you have been in my office, from my time at the district attorney's office to my time here in the Capitol, and hearing from all the survivors that I've had the pleasure of meeting, being a voice for victims. One thing is clear: victims should come first. The victims, survivors, all of you should have a seat at the table so your experiences can be a catalyst for change. Because of your advocacy, so many of you here telling your stories and fighting for change, we are starting to shift the conversation. We heard about a number of bills that we've already made happen. We've got those signed into law last year. We need to keep the momentum going and keep moving forward. We have to keep steering the conversation, keep talking, and keep fighting. When one door closes, we will push through and make our voices heard. We need common sense policies to stop cycles of crime, take care of our victims, and make our communities safer. These are not partisan issues. In fact, these issues should unite us. We can all unite around protecting victims. We can all unite around having safer communities. We have a long road ahead of us, but I will be with you every step of the way. Because of you, your stories, your passion, your willingness to engage with lawmakers like us, change is happening. Because when survivors speak, thank you.
Well, thank you all very much for having me. Thank you all for your advocacy and for taking the challenging situations that you've all experienced and turning that into something positive, because I can't imagine anything more positive than what we have happening out here today. I'm Representative Lisa Borowski. I represent Delaware County, and I am happy to say that I'm getting ready to introduce a bill that will provide for victims of violent crime and sexual abuse to stay in their homes or to leave if they need to. So to break a lease in order to get out of situations that are unsafe. We need our victims and survivors to be safe. So I'm excited to be putting forth that legislation, hopefully in the next few days. And I look forward to my colleagues in the House joining me and supporting this important effort. So thank you all so much for being here. Thanks for bringing the sun with you. And have a wonderful day while you're here. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Mihalik and Representative Borowski. I would like to now introduce another brave CSSJ member and friend, Ms. Pearl Wide.
Thank you, Alex. I'm a proud member of Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice because our voices must be heard. A lot of people in Pennsylvania, across the county, claim to speak for us. But we've seen that many of these policies don't work. And we can be doing more to end the cycles of crime. It does not make us any safer to have people who are leaving prison to be unable to give back to their communities. On the contrary, it is these barriers that can lead to people going back into a life of crime and going back behind bars. We can stop this cycle of victimization by providing tools to those who want them and holding them accountable along the way. Earned credits and reforming occupational licensing are a common sense way to improve safety and grow the workforce. These incentives encourage people to complete job and education training so they are prepared for life after release. And reducing barriers to occupational licensing for people with old convictions allows them to provide for their families. This has been proven in other states to improve outcomes and make it less likely they will return to a life of crime. It not only saves taxpayer dollars, but also helps expand our workforce here in Pennsylvania. As more people have the tools needed to become productive citizens, this approach ensures that people leave prison better than when they went in. We urge the legislature to stand with us and help us to put an end to cycles of crime that we all know too well. And we will make it happen because when survivors speak, change happens. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aswad Thomas. I'm the National Director of Crime Survivors for Safety and Justice. As a survivor of gun violence myself, I know the grieving days that we experience. I know the loss that we all have known far too often. And I know many of you here today from across the state of Pennsylvania have lost loved ones to violence. Many of you here today have experienced victimization for far too long. Now, I know today isn't easy to be up here, but we are here in honor of ourselves. We are here in honor of our loved ones who are no longer here today. So we stand here, please take a moment to take out your candle. And as we think about our loved ones, I would like to call up a few survivors, Miss Julie, Kyra, Alex, Miss Catherine, Melissa, and Benzie, to light a candle for survivors.
Good morning. My name is Julie Bush, and I'm lighting this candle for all the parents that have lost their children and loved ones to gun violence.
Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine. They call me Kat. I'm lighting this candle in honor of domestic violence.
Good morning, beautiful survivors. My name is Benzie Diaz. I am a survivor of child domestic human trafficking, and I light this candle for all survivors of human trafficking.
Good morning, Survivor Speak. My name is Shakira Morales DeShields, and I light this candle in honor of all survivors of gun violence.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa McCrae, and I light this candle in honor of all survivors of sexual assault and sexual violence.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alex Thomas, and I light this candle in honor of all survivors of childhood sexual abuse.
Now, please join me in a moment of silence as we honor ourselves and our loved ones who are no longer here. And as we stand here in silence, please feel free to call out the names of your loved ones who you would like to bring into this space.
Mark and Kevin. Jaden Brown. Judith.
Tori Jeter.
Dooley. Mike Black. Swan.
Roger Davis.
Mike Rice.
David Matthew Henry.
Man. Lisa Burhaney.
Christopher Wilson.
Louis Miller. Julian Letterlow.
Kevin Floyd.
Major Rainey.
Tyree White.
All my brothers. Robert Thomas.
Philip
Leroy
Radcliffe.
Lewis. Dustin Parker.
Sean Franklin.
Miles Carter. Arlene Braxton.
Andre Morales.
Miles Jones.
Wayne Alvarado.
John Jett. Dorothy Radcliffe. Juanita Moore.
Charles Sykes. Michael Lamar.
Roland Moore. Chucky Moore. Jeffrey Joyce.
Evil Big White. Business Store.
Jamal Crummell.
Thank you for being here today, for letting our voices be heard here at the state capitol. We are survivors and we are healing through action. We must continue to let our voices be heard at policymaking tables. But we also here because we need more services and resources for our communities. We need more trauma recovery centers across the state of Pennsylvania. There are organizations here today that are on the front lines to violence. Those organizations need more funding to help meet the needs of survivors in their communities. More organizations here are far too often having to struggle with providing support. That must change, because when it comes to safety, when it comes to healing, when it comes to well-being, these are the individuals and these are the organizations that are responding to the call. But we also know that we need to prevent violence from happening in the first place. As we heard today, survivors need housing and employment protections. We are here not only as survivors, but we also are here to fix a broken criminal justice system. So for us in our families, it's not rare to have a loved one who experienced violence and have another loved one who has been incarcerated. See, we are both impacted by victimization. We are also impacted by the criminal justice system. Just as survivors, we cannot get the resources to help us heal. Our loved ones cannot get housing, cannot get jobs because of their past criminal records. That must change, is why we are here today at the state capitol. So if we need more trauma recovery centers in Philadelphia, in York, in Harrisburg, in Chester, in Pittsburgh, say yes. Yes. If we need more victim services, say yes. Yes. If we need more funding for our organizations, say yes. Yes. If we need to prioritize rehabilitation, say yes. Yes. If we need to fix this broken criminal justice system, say yes. Yes. When survivors speak, change happens. When survivors speak, change happens. When survivors speak, change will continue to happen in the state of Pennsylvania if you look at people who are here today. People who are here today are most impacted by violence, but unfortunately, we are the least helped when it comes to getting support. Our communities are most impacted by the criminal justice system, but our communities are most devastated by the criminal justice system. So when we say when survivors speak, change happens, because it really happens by listening to those of us who are here today on the state capitol. So our work is not finished. Our work will continue until we stop violence from happening in the first place. But I say this, if we can't prevent violence from happening, the least we can do as a society, the least we can do as legislators, the least we can do as decision makers is making sure that every survivor across the state of Pennsylvania get access to victim compensation, get access to victim services, get access to safely move away from a home that's no longer safe. When survivors speak, change